has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. All right, we get into the coup de grace, the final hour of love on a pain-free Friday. I'm Ferrall with Carver Highway in New York City. Good to have you with us. Mike Elko, he's actually been doing a decent job out at College Station, right, at A&M.
Yeah, he's going into year number 2, of course. Now, last year they got out to a hot start. In fact, he started 7-0 in conference, had a chance, or 7-0 overall, and had a chance to win the SEC and get to Atlanta for the championship game. But they struggled down the stretch, losing their last couple games and did not make it into that game. Here's Elko, wants the team to finish strong this year.
You have to go through some of that sometimes, and as painful it is, and as painful it was for us and our fans and everyone involved, we had never been in that position before. We had never been the hunted team. We had never been in November competing for an opportunity to get into Atlanta with our destiny in our own hands, and I think you learn how you have to elevate your game in those matchups when you become that team. And going on the road in back-to-back weeks, and we didn't play the football that we needed to play to finish it. And it's been our mantra the entire offseason. Mantras don't turn into wins, but I do believe our kids have a really strong chip on our shoulder to change that story and finish this thing the right way.
Yeah, listen, I think they're better than Arkansas. I'll give you that much. They're a tough team. They always are. What's their win total?
The Texas A&M win total right now is sitting at 7.5. Now, look, they've got, again, it's SEC, so they've all got a pretty tough one. But I always do take a note if there's a team that doesn't have either Alabama or Georgia on the schedule. Texas A&M does not play either of them this year. So that's usually a little helpful.
Smart.
Now they do play Texas, obviously. They get them every year now in the rotation with the rivalry game at the end of the year. But, Missouri, South Carolina, Arkansas, Florida, Miss State, Auburn, they're not getting all the heavy hitters there. But they do play Notre Dame on the road. Remember, Notre Dame beat them there last year. They got to go to South Bend and return the favor. Now this year in a night game in mid-September. So, tough schedule, but I think they can get over it, actually. It will be a loss in South Bend, yes, but I think we can maybe get them to 8 wins this year and get over that 7.5.
I like that over. I do, and I think your thought about them not having to play the heavies is perfect opening. The door's open for them to go get it. I think the guy can coach. I think they have talent. I think they have a shot at it. I like that schedule you just talked about. They're not winning the SEC. That's not happening. I don't believe. But, like I said, the handing of this conference to Texas because of what they did last year is, I think, absurd. That doesn't cut it for me. I don't care what you did last year. I don't deny that they have a loaded cupboard and a great young quarterback, right? But, they've only let him play a couple times. I need to see the guy play on the road in all those hostile environments every week. I want to see what he does every single week. He's going to be their quarterback now. None of this, 2 games and then he doesn't play again. So we don't know what they're going to be like. And I guarantee you Georgia's hungry and licking their chops because they didn't get it done. And Alabama, in my view, stunk. 9-4 to me stinks for them, right? And LSU, this guy Kelly, he's angry. I mean, let's face facts. He keeps losing openers. He's in a foul mood from the jump every year. That LSU team is loaded and dangerous and ready for bear. So, you look at those 3, Georgia, Alabama, and LSU, I think it's coming out of that chunk.
Yeah, Texas is the favorite since we're wrapping up the SEC this week. And in the media poll today, They were voted the preseason favorite. 96 first-place votes for Texas, followed by Georgia, Alabama, LSU.
Prognosticators and geniuses and know-it-alls and the people that think they know that we talk about on Coast to Coast all the time, they can all shove off. Okay, preseason. They're favored. What was Arizona State last year? They were favored to finish dead last, and by the media. So here's how much you can trust the media when it comes to predicting who's winning conferences in college football.
Is that an exact quote right there? That's an exact quote that's the exact quote for them. There you go. Good week of SEC college football here on Coast to Coast.
That was exciting, fantastic. And we haven't even done the conferences that I like yet.
I know, Big Ten and ACC next week here on Coast to Coast. We'll hear from all those coaches and get lathered up. Remember, after today, only 6 more Summer Fridays until college football starts.
Oh my God.
6 more Summer Fridays. It's almost there.
7 and 8. Now it's 6 and 7 starting next
week.
week.
Well, because today, it was 7 including today. Today's almost over. So there'll be 6 more Summer Fridays before college football starts. All right, I want to get this story in before Stewie comes on.
Oh, this story's delicious.
This is incredible.
He's having
NFL
a bad
now.
day.
So this Lloyd Howell, who was the NFL one of the Players Association executives, he resigned yesterday.
Director, he's in charge.
Executive director, he's like the main guy. So he resigned kind of out of nowhere yesterday, and we kind of found out some of the reasons why today. How about this guy, Lloyd Howell? Outside investigator hired by the union received documents this week showing Howell charged the union for 2 visits to strip clubs, including a $738 car service that took him from the airport to one of the clubs. Where was he? Fort Lauderdale International. Back in 23, the car's first stop was at a nearby Miami Gardens address, and then he decided, throw me in the car as take me to the strip club for him. So Tootsie's he went to, Scotty. Took the car to Tootsie's down in South Beach.
Gotten a better deal at Scarlett's. Are we on the air? We are. Don't talk.
He wasn't done. Then in February, he accompanied NFLPA employees to Magic City in Atlanta for an outing that rang up $2,426 in charges, including cash withdrawals, ranging from $200 to $500. Documents show that they used VIP rooms. According to the expense report, the purpose of the outing was, quote, player engagement event to support and grow our union. Your boy Lloyd is having a bad day.
Did they get blow at either place? I mean, is that why they went to the ATM? They didn't just put the booze on the card?
By the way, that guy was making a couple million a year for that job. And he needed to charge the $700 car service to Tootsie's down from the Fort Lauderdale airport.
Tootsie's is fantastic, but Magic, that's a strong effort right there by him. He went out with a bang.
Yeah.
And now he's going to, his wife's going to leave him after this
time.
Yeah,
we've had a lot of that this week. We've had a lot.
He didn't know that he went to Magic City and Tootsie's.
At least he wasn't caught at a Coldplay concert. At least he was at Magic City, not at a Coldplay concert.
He would have been better off.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
they're still trying to throw Dalton Knecht's name in trades, and I don't even know if he's viewed as a positive asset still.
And that's a crazy thing. Dalton Knecht, if you look at FanDuel, Dalton Knecht 20-plus points at plus 120. He's giving you no indication that he's that right there. I mean, Kevin, I would be more likely if we knew we were going to get the minutes. Bronny James, 10-plus points at plus 118.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
I mean, Houston beat the snot out of the Dodgers, 18-1. And this is what happens here. Oral Hershiser doing the game for the Dodgers brings up the cheating scandal, going, oh, they must know the science because they're hitting curveballs like they know it's coming. It's like, oh boy, did you really want to go down that rabbit hole again here? I think this is one of those nights where they got destroyed. Yeah, hey, it happens in baseball here, but just found that an interesting comment by Oral Hershiser. Start bringing up the cheating scandal again.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
You have a head coach in Jim Harbaugh that's proven he will cheat to win. He will win at the biggest stage and doesn't give a damn who cares or finds out, and he'll just move on. That's what I love about a coach. That's the type of coach that I want. Win at all costs. Now, also, at all costs means, like, how are we building this team? Because I actually thought Harbaugh would come in and say, okay, let me just see what the players on the roster is. We'll weed them out after a year, but there's a lot of talent. He built that foundation last year and still made the playoffs.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Of an interesting couple of weeks in California. If you recall, just I think it was 2 weeks ago, language was inserted into a bill that would outlaw or ban sweepstakes casinos and sports betting, which of course we've seen lots of that happen this year. So California is an interesting market because, as you've said, there is no legal online casino. There is no legal online sports betting.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back for El Coast to Coast here on a Friday, summer Friday on C2C. And of course, we have the Open Championship heading into the weekend. Royal Portrush, here we go. Scotty Scheffler in the lead. Fitz going to try to chase him down for us this weekend. Keith Stewart from Read the Line is with us. It's always weird when it's not a Golf Wednesday because I always like screaming on a Golf Wednesday, and I can't do that today. But Keith, if you're here on a Friday, that means we got a big major championship going on this weekend. Great to see you, as always, my man. Now, before we talk about how Fitz is going to take Scotty down this weekend, I'll start with this because this is obviously the hot pressing thing right now throughout the golf world, and that was this Lowry two-shot penalty that he was given here. So obviously you know that I'm always invested in some way in the Irish Bear, even not just outrights, 10s, 20s, etc. Look, Keith, I see both sides of this. I get it. I think two's probably a little too much. I don't know why it can't just be one stroke. I've seen some people online mention how, these guys get all this relief from sprinklers and walls and everything else throughout the year, and you bang this guy 2 shots for something that you didn't even see happen. Your thoughts on the Lowry 2-shot penalty today on 12?
Mike, good afternoon on a Friday. Pleasure to be with you. And what it comes down to is it's the rule. The rule is the rule. If you cause the ball to move, then you get a 2-stroke penalty. I know that on social media there's no rules and there's no rules at Coldplay concerts, but the fact of the matter is USGA and RNA rules apply. You go out there, you cause the ball to move. Now, here's the thing. What's unfortunate about that is that sometimes you don't know that you caused the ball to move, but in this particular case, everyone saw the ball move. I know you saw the ball move.
Yes.
Shane's sentiment to the press pool afterwards is basically like he knows that he has to take the penalty. It's just that, it was pouring rain. They're playing in the pouring rain. I'm sure that's why the ball slid amongst the grass blades. Otherwise, the ball doesn't move. But it just is what it is. It's unfortunate. He goes from 17th place to tied for 34th, and his tournament is over. There at home, I'm sure he put a lot of pressure on himself to perform, but you never know. He shot 63 on a Saturday last time there. He could do it again.
I would gladly take a 63 from him tomorrow if he would like to throw that out there. Going out a little bit earlier now after his 2-stroke penalty, that's for sure. All right, Keith, let's set this up because we've got ourselves the ultimate conundrum here. We know the deal with Scotty. I mean, minus 190 with 2 full rounds of golf left to play. He's got a one-shot lead here. Your guy, our guy, Matthew Fitzpatrick, who unfortunately, he should be tied with him if he could only make that 2.5-footer on 17 as he was going in. But I mean, that's just the way that it goes. So 10 under for Scotty, 9 under for Matt. Brian Harman hanging around another Open Championship now here, and Haotong Lee, who's played very good golf the last 2 days, and then a host of guys at 5. Let's start with this. Scotty going to run away and hide here, Keith? Please don't tell me yes.
Well, here's the thing, Mike. A simple answer to that question, no. I don't think he's going to run away with this thing. You know, yes, the ball striking was great today, but yesterday he missed what? He hit 3 fairways and missed 11 of them. So, I mean, I think this thing is going to roller coaster more than you think. There's 2 factors that are not working in our favor. Number 1, it's Scotty Scheffler is the number 1 player in the world. Number 2, the weather looks fine. It actually looks really, really nice for the weekend. Tomorrow, they might get a little rain in the morning. They might get some wind, 10 to 15 miles an hour in the afternoon. But this is the Irish coastline. Like, it was sunny and the wind laid down this afternoon, and Scotty and Fitz and everybody else went to town on that golf course. And you're going to have to go low this weekend in order to take Scotty down. Now, hey, Fitz made it. What did he make, 8 birdies today? I mean, it can happen again. And he missed a bunch of short putts over the course of the first 2 days. I love where Fitzpatrick's at. You know, everyone's all over Scotty. When he finished, he was minus 175, Mike. He's now minus 190. They're hammering it already, right? Like 36 holes is a long way to go. If he was minus 190 with 18 holes to go, I'd feel better about it. 36 holes is a long way to go. In an opportunity where look what happened to Shane, or look at some of the quirky things that have happened over the last 2 days, I still think there's some hope.
I think there's some hope, too. I don't think this is completely shut down. Now, me and you are obviously going to be rooting a lot for Matt. Do you think that the guys in the 5s, is there anyone in the 5s that you believe, do you cut it off at minus 5, or do you think anything below that still has a chance?
I don't see anyone below minus 5. I mean, it would take 2 rounds of like 63 to do it, because it's not just Scotty that's up there. You've got 2 proven winners in Fitzpatrick and Harman that are both playing well. You know, I mean, Harman's leading the field in approach play, right? I mean, he shot what he did today. He had the low round of the day until Scotty finished, and he basically lost strokes putting, if you could believe that. He hit every fairway. He pretty much hit every green. You know, I mean, he put on a stripe show. So I think anyone, you know, I have a lot of faith right now in McIntyre. I have money on Hatton. You know, I got Hatton pre-tournament at 33. So, like, I think some of those guys, the way they're hitting it, they could certainly make a charge. Past that, I mean, it would take 2 incredible rounds, and then all those guys at the top need to falter, and they're not all Haotong Lee. You know, like, I mean, Scotty's up there, Fitz is up there. These are proven commodities, and I think that 5's even a stretch, but some of those guys at 5, like Hatton and McIntyre, I think have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, 28-1 for Hatton right now, 33-1 for Bobby Mack, kind of around where they were before the tournament started.
Yeah.
And you can kind of get them right where they are, 5 shots back. I'm with you. I think those are the 2 guys you circle. I don't know if Harry, as well as English has played, I don't know if he's got enough to make up 5 strokes over the next 2 days, especially with how the course is going to play. And the Højgaards are like, they're so up and down, Keith. It's like one day they're on fire. That Rasmus, he could shoot 3 over in a heartbeat tomorrow.
I mean, Rasmus could gain 7 with his irons, and he could lose 7 with his irons, and that could all happen on the front 9 tomorrow. So, like, I mean, the Højgaards, we don't even know which one's which, really. I mean, they could switch spots like behind the dunes and we wouldn't know. But, you know, what it comes down to is that between the weather, you got to go low, and between the way the golf course is playing, I mean, the golf course played 2 strokes over par on round 1. Round 2, it played 0.4 of a stroke over par. I mean, it's just too soft. The big question I have for you, Mike, is right now, the Ryder Cup, Team USA is still favored at minus 145, Europe at plus 115. Cantley, Morikawa, what are we doing, right? We got problems at Bethpage.
10 seconds, Keith. I know our wallet and our heart say Fitzpatrick. Your head says what on Sunday? Who's it going to be?
Fitzmagic. Book it.
Let's go! Keith Snow.
think that there's a possibility that we could be looking at DeBoer wondering if he's the long-term answer at coach for the Tide?
I'm starting to feel like Alabama, I can't believe I'm saying this, Craig, is a sleeper. Fourth easiest schedule in the SEC this year. Ryan Williams is back. I think the friendly, these early season games against Florida State and Wisconsin, that is friendly for Alabama.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Paige Beckers, ready folks, is a top 10 WNBA player right now. You ever heard of the band Gladys Knight and the Pips? Yeah, it's Paige Beckers and the Dallas Wings. That's what she's got. You know what that means? She's got nobody. Enrique Wumwale has been awful this year. I don't know if she wants to play there or not.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Her ability to defend, shoot the three, rebound, pass the ball, and on a team that is awful. Right now, training to get the #1 overall pick if they win the WNBA lottery. Possibly to draft her buddy AZ Fudd, maybe. But when you look at Paige Beckers is a top 10 player in the WNBA.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Obviously, he didn't do great in the last two majors, and we're going home here. We're going to Northern Ireland, Royal Portage. This is Rory's the reason why we're going here. Got off to a rough start, throwing his tee shot out of bounds back in 2019. I think he'll be ready. Not yet ready to call him the winner. I still have a couple of days before I do that, but it is a home game for him. And as you saw, based on this weekend, he is playing well.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, I know, Mike, you're really looking forward to the WNBA All-Star Weekend. I just watched for 10 minutes. They had they're still talking about it. I wanted to jump.
Is that this weekend?
Yeah.
This weekend's the WNBA All-Star game? I think
it's in
Where
Indianapolis.
Is it?
I think
in
it's
India.
in
Oh, well, they have to have everything there now, right? I mean, everything's in Indianapolis. They're the only team that matters.
She's not playing, though. She's not doing anything.
She's
she
hurt,
injured
right?
her groin. She's not doing anything. But she's,
I saw her on all
the parties.
those videos partying. She was partying last night.
Yeah.
I mean, I know she's not playing, but she was cutting a rug. She was letting it fly at all those parties that they had. There you go. Just talk to Stewie. So the Open Championship. Here's what I have for you going into the weekend. Of course, Scheffler and Fitzpatrick. And they will be, of course, the final pair, Scotty, that goes out at 10:35 a.m. East tomorrow morning. So get yourself settled in. Scheffler and Fitz, the last two out at 10:35 East on Saturday morning. Harman and Lee will go out before them. There's the rest of your guys in order. Of course, Højgaard, Hatton, Bobby Mack, Harry English, Chris Gotterup. Stewie seems to think, Scotty, that the guys at 5 under, that's like his cutoff. He says that's about it. Anybody 5 under or better still in it. He thinks everyone else is out of the mix here with Scheffler at 10.
Yeah, like my guy Hatton at 5 under is where I'm going. So that's my best shot. And then I told you I'll take that piece that Gabe talked about with Harman. The guy's won it before, and he played great today, a 65. So Scheffler, I guess Gotterup had a 65 and Harman had a 65, and that was it. Only Scheffler was better with a 64. So he was one stroke worse than Scheffler. I like Harman's chances, and I'll still go outsider Hatton.
Harman right now, to get him at this point. Now, look, Harman was 125 to 1 before the tournament. So obviously you've missed the boat with the big numbers, but he's still 12 to 1 right now.
He's 14 at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, down to 12. It's been bet down a little bit. So Fitzpatrick's plus 550. Scheffler's minus 190 with 2 rounds of golf left. Like, you got to be kidding me.
He hasn't won this thing, right? He hasn't won it.
He has not won the Open, no.
Listen, I got to tell you, I know it sounds crazy, but I prefer someone that's done it, that knows how to win it. And I don't deny he can win every single tournament that he's in. But he hasn't won this thing. Harmon's won it. I mean, the guy has a claret jug. He got it done, whether people like it or not. And I like his chance.
I do too. I think he's going to be very much alive here. This Ho Tong Lee.
And I like Bobby Mack's chance. That guy played
Bobby
great
Mack,
today. He got robbed of a couple birdies.
And remember this, on the Sunday of the U.S. Open, he was the guy that came flying down the back 9 in those awful conditions and finished second. And, if Spawn doesn't have that great 17 and 18, he'd probably be playing him in a playoff from how far back he was.
He's that guy that has the beer gut that you don't want to play skins with. This guy will take your money on a golf course. He looks like that guy shows up with his shirt untucked and can just wail on the ball. And I mean to tell you, he got robbed on a couple of shots and putts today. That guy, I think he's in it too.
And he still shot a great round. Even with that, he
66.
was able to shoot the 66 today. So Bobby Mack's a guy, you can still get him at 33-1 that I would have my eyes on as well.
Should we be worried about this Lee guy from China because he's playing great back-to-back 67s? No one wants to ever admit that a guy like that could win it. They just write him off like he has no chance. That guy's in it.
He's like 25-1, and he's 2 shots at back. Basically the books they're telling you he's got no shot of winning it. He's only made 1 bogey the first 2 days. That's it. 1 bogey over the first.
Give me a piece on that. Mafia, get out the shekel bag.
And I don't know if we said this on the air or not, but they did give Lowry a 2-stroke penalty for that ball.
What a joke earlier on.
Yeah,
I mean, that was a horrible decision.
A horrible decision. He wasn't happy about it either. You know how he gets. He wasn't thrilled, but
he didn't
camera
move
saw
that ball. He didn't even look at that ball when he was swinging. He was looking straight ahead when he swung his practice swing. He wasn't even near that ball.
Awful.
I say, you crank that Soldier Boy, right? You Darvish back on the mound. Haven't seen this guy in a minute right now. Yeah, man, crank it, man. Get it going up. Get the high. Yeah, let's go. Crank that Soldier Boy up here. Yeah. I mean, come on, man. That was big back then. Where were you? Senior high school? Or maybe even in grade school?
Dude. Bar mitzvah slate. In the bar mitzvah slate each and every weekend. The young Benny Steve was out there hitting it.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Do they practice in a public park? And Farrell and Lodge, he said, no, they have a little facility, but it's open to the public. No, it's a public park. It basically, there's kids playing basketball, Yeah, no, it's bad. I looked, I'm like, dear God, I thought, man, I bet a lot of money on these guys. I can't believe this is where they practice.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Scrounge out a couple of quarters from under the couch to go trade for somebody who actually makes some money. I don't think that he would actually do that. That's not in Hal's style the last couple of years, especially in season. I saw they signed that Heimer Candelario, who the Reds released. That's more their style, going the discount aisle as opposed to trading for someone who's actually having a huge year like Suarez.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I would be looking to get him in dynasty or keeper leagues. If I'm out of a league and I'm looking to rebuild for the next years ahead, that's where I'm looking. Yuri Perez is a special young pitcher that we're going to be talking about in that Paul Skeens, in that Tariq Skubal, in that grouping of guys. I think he can be that good. He's only 22 years old. He's the boy. So you're getting a situation here where Yuri Perez eventually is going to grow into that man of a pitcher.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
So Adam Calvin is our NFL insider. You see him on SportsGrid across the board. He's on C2C every week. He's covered the NFL for almost 30 years. You can follow him at Kaplan NFL on X. And I want to start with these deals that you saw, like TJ Watt's deal and Von Miller's deal. Well, first of all, the Steelers deal. Now, yesterday we went through this, okay? So he got all this money, $108 million guaranteed up front, and then $41 million plus per year, $123 million over 3 years. He, of all people that deserve a contract, I get it. This is why they did this deal. Like, this was inevitable that he was getting this deal. It was also inevitable that he wasn't leaving Pittsburgh. He's going to finish his career in black and gold, and that's all there is to it. But I have a problem with the money. I really do, because I got to be honest with you. I went to all these games. That guy lost the Defensive Player of the Year award. He was so bad the last month and a half of the season. In the game I went to on January 5th, he had no tackles at all. Forget about hits and sacks. He didn't have any, like, donuts. And then in the playoff game in Baltimore, he repeated the feat with donuts across the board. Now, I don't disagree that he holds all the team records, sacks, everything else, hits for losses, quarterback pressures. That's why he got the money. He certainly didn't get the money for what he does in December and January, because he never does anything when it matters.
Yeah, I mean, Scott, think about it, right? You were touching on it in passing. They have not won a playoff game since 2016. He was drafted 2017. He turns 31 this fall. So you and I talked about this situation for a number of weeks. I kept telling you he's not being traded. They want to extend his deal. That's not in question. The question was, and why did it take till now to get it done? They had to agree on the guaranteed money at signing. You touched on it. Over $100 million fully guaranteed at signing. He's got a better structure, by the way, than Myles Garrett got last summer, or earlier this year, rather, with the Browns. And when you look at TJ Watt, there's no question he's going to be a Hall of Famer like his brother. That's not the issue. The issue is when you get to a certain age, Scott, typically edge rushers, 32, 33, are almost done. By the time his contract expires, right, he's got this year plus 3 more, he's going to be close to 35 years old. Now, this year with the signing bonus, 26 to 27, all the money's fully guaranteed. So they can't get out of it. So this is a risk here. I mean, you're talking about, Scott, $41 million per season, higher than the number I thought he'd get. I'll be honest with you. I thought it'd be a little bit less than this. But they stepped up to the plate. And just like they did 4 years ago, they went outside of their structure. They usually do the monster signing bonus, a 1 year fully guaranteed. They didn't do that. They gave him 2 additional years fully guaranteed. That's not typically the way they do things, but they're taking care of this guy. Now, the last deal 4 years ago, Scott, you should remember this. Remember, he did a hold-in in training camp. He didn't get the deal done. They stopped negotiating until right hugging up to the season. Then he got that mega deal leading up right to week 1. But I give Omar Khan credit and the Rooney family. They stepped at the plate. A lot of people question this around the league. Why would you do this for a guy who turns 31? This is typically not the way the Steelers do things. I give them credit for doing it, but they got to figure out other ways to win here, because the bottom line is, with him, and he's a great football player, they won a playoff game.
I mean, like right before my very eyes, I watched this guy fade. And that was when he was 31. I've already watched him do nothing when it matters. Like, the real football people in Pittsburgh that follow this team, that really cover this team, that know this team, they know what he hasn't done in the postseason. They know what he hasn't done in December. And they called him out on it when he got that giant deal yesterday. I almost fell over when I saw the deal, Adam. I really do. I think it's a bad deal. And I'll tell you what, they gave Khan a deal, a new deal. They gave this guy a massive deal, way overpaying him. I don't care what anybody says. And then, but now they're done. They've got everything in place. There's no more things that they have to accomplish. Isn't that about right?
Well, look, they addressed quarterback. It's a one-year situation with Rodgers, but they got their quarterback, right? They got Metcalf. Now they traded away Pickens, but they got Metcalf. They were not going to extend Pickens' deal. I told you that well before the trade. They were not going to do it, and they knew this would be a problem, so they traded him. They addressed the running back position with Caleb Johnson in the draft. They've done that. Derek Harmon, they're super high on their first-round pick out of Oregon. They think he's going to be a difference maker in year one. They addressed the cornerback position in a big way with Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey. Yes, they traded away Fitzpatrick, but Scott, he stopped being a playmaker. So they didn't want to pay him. They don't want to pay him the $15 million. But this is a team that not only has got to get in the playoffs, they got to start winning, Scott. This is like, what is going, you know, what's typical. Now, you and I had this little debate at the end of the season. I get it. Mike Tomlin's a very good coach. They make the playoffs every year, but they don't win. Typically, when you don't win, if you go 8 or 9 years without winning a playoff game, you don't keep your job. At some point, they got to start going for the playoffs here and making a run, particularly with Rodgers, with Watt. I know he's going to be there to end his career. That's not in question anymore. But they got to start making a run here with the Steelers.
There's no doubt about it. They've been a massive disappointment. They win games that don't matter. They win regular season games in September, October, and November, and then they fade horribly. All right, this next deal is inexplicable to me. The Von Miller deal, you cannot explain it to me at all because he was so bad in Buffalo. He was so shot in Buffalo. It's not even funny. Like Carver High said, he's playing on one leg.
Yeah. All right, here's the situation with Von Miller. So Washington as basically, they're looking for a 4-man rotation with their edge rush group, right? If you look at their situation, Dorrance Armstrong is a nice player, came over from Dallas. Dan Quinn knew him from their days with the Cowboys, right? Cleveland Ferrell has kind of revived his career, but he's a backup. They brought up Dietrich Wise from the Patriots, who's an underrated pass rusher. But they know in the National Football League, you can't have enough pass rushers. Now, Von Miller did have 6 sacks last season. You probably wouldn't know it. He's what we call a DPR. What does that mean? Designated pass rusher. He's not going to play a lot at 36 years old. He's not been the same since the ACL injury from a couple years ago. They think in their tape study that he's got something left. They want to make a run here. They want to have depth. They want to have a rotation. I understand what they're doing here. Miller, by the way, only played a third of the snaps last season for the Bills. We know that Von Miller is at the end of his career, won the Super Bowl with Denver many, many years ago.
His career's over.
He's near the end here. We get that, but they wanted to have a rotation here. I totally get that part of it. But you have to question, what does he really have at this point? They think the tape was good enough that he could contribute. I get that, but he's going to be in a limited role. I would argue, honestly, Brandon Graham, who just retired, was a better football player. I'm not arguing it. Before Graham tore the triceps last season, it was phenomenal. I mean, he was incredible. Then he retoured again.
And he played with it torn. He played with it torn in the Super Bowl, and he's better than Von Miller. He's with one arm.
He was better. He was better. Absolutely, he was better. But Von Miller, the Commanders, and they want to make a run. There's no question about it. They want to have depth in their rotation.
What happened with that eagle that died? That was stunning this week.
Yeah, it's sad. Yeah, Brian Brayman, who was a special teams ace, who was part of the Super Bowl run in 2017, one of the best special teams players in the league during his day. He passed away to cancer. Yeah, it's very sad, man, at 38 years old. He was a self-made player, a undrafted free agent, played a number of colleges, and I mean, he had a really nice career in terms of special teams, but again, he did pass away, as you said, this week at the age of 38. But man, at least he was able to win a Super Bowl in 2017, and obviously our thoughts and everything else is with his family. But man, high energy guy. You talk about playing with your hair on fire. Had the long hair. If you followed his career at all, but very instrumental in their special teams. Man, he was one of the highest paid special teams players of his day.
When we come back with Adam, we're going to talk about the NFC West. And is it going to be the Niners? Are the Rams going to go on another run? They were 20 yards from beating the Eagles in the playoffs and couldn't get it done. We'll look at that division and see what's shaking out as camps are opening up.
think that there's a possibility that we could be looking at DeBoer wondering if he's the long-term answer at coach for the Tide?
I'm starting to feel like Alabama, I can't believe I'm saying this, Craig, is a sleeper. Fourth easiest schedule in the SEC this year. Ryan Williams is back. I think the friendly, these early season games against Florida State and Wisconsin, that is friendly for Alabama.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Paige Beckers, ready folks, is a top 10 WNBA player right now. You ever heard of the band Gladys Knight and the Pips? Yeah, it's Paige Beckers and the Dallas Wings. That's what she's got. You know what that means? She's got nobody. Enrique Wumwale has been awful this year. I don't know if she wants to play there or not.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Her ability to defend, shoot the three, rebound, pass the ball, and on a team that is awful. Awful. Right now, training to get the #1 overall pick if they win the WNBA lottery. Possibly to draft her buddy AZ Fudd. Maybe. But when you look at Paige Beckers is a top 10 player in the WNBA.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Obviously, he didn't do great in the last two majors, and we're going home here. We're going to Northern Ireland, Royal Portage. This is Rory's the reason why we're going here. Got off to a rough start, throwing his tee shot out of bounds back in 2019. I think he'll be ready. Not yet ready to call him the winner. I still have a couple of days before I do that, but it is a home game for him. And as you saw, based on this weekend, he is playing well.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Talking to Adam Kaplan, our NFL insider, on a Pain-Free Friday. I want to ask you first, before we talk about the NFC West, what is your schedule like as you get ready to go to all these training camps?
Yeah, so I'll start late next week, probably go to the Eagles first, stay local. I'll see the Giants, the Ravens, and I'm going to see, by the way, a lot of joint practices, and I still hope to get out west. I love doing those hits with you. Right, remember at the Chargers camp, right on the field.
Right,
remember in the back of the end zone? Yeah, how great was that? Yeah, we're going to try to work that out this year. Believe me, that was great. That was a great visual. We'll try to work that out.
Are you going to go back to see the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh again, or are you going to go to a different team?
Well, see, Scott, they're in El Segundo now. They're in El Segundo. And we've got the Cowboys are out there. Obviously, the Rams are out there. They've moved once again. We'll try. What I like to do, Scott, is when I travel, see as many teams practicing together, these so-called joint practices. It's great. There's nothing better than it. And because there's usually a little bit more on the line. They take it more seriously because they're going to play the team in the preseason. In fact, that's why, Scott, that a lot of players don't play in the preseason. When you've got joint practices, those practices are a little bit more intense. And that way they hold out the players in the preseason game. So, yeah. You'll see me on the road, and I'll do my best to do a couple hits from the field from wherever I go.
That's great. All right, why are the Niners the favorite in the West, in the NFC, over the Rams? To me, the Rams are the better football team.
Scott, this is not only that. This is what's stunning me. I made sure this is correct. I checked a couple books. The Niners win total is 10.5. I would have put them at 9.5. Brandon Ayuk's not going to be ready for a while. He's coming back from torn ACL. They traded Deebo Samuel. Okay, they traded Jordan Mason, who's one of the better backup running backs in the league. They lost Aaron Banks, was one of the starting guards who signed with the Packers. They didn't really replace him. Now, to win the West, they're plus 160. They're still the favorite. The over, listen to this, Scott. The over 10.5 wins is minus 102. The under is minus 118. Now, I like the under. I don't see them getting 11 wins or more. I get it. Now, why would the odds makers think they could get over 10.5? Robert Saleh returns as the defense coordinator. That's a really good hire. No question about it. He did great the first time around as their defensive coordinator. Now, Brock Purdy got his contract. They're a little bit shaky at receiver. And Juwan Jennings, by the way, he wants his new deal. Hasn't gotten it yet. Got to watch that. George Kittle's another year older. Great player. Big injuries. McCaffrey coming off a injury-torn season. All sorts of problems with that Achilles, and you know about his hamstring problems over there, so you worry about that. They're not real strong in the secondary. Their secondary is almost going to be completely revamped. One of their best corners, Charvarius Ward, signed with the Colts. Hufanga, one of their safeties, signed with the Broncos. So they've got a lot of change. I agree with you, Scott. They absolutely should not be the favorite in that division. I would agree with you, and we'll get the Rams in a minute. The Rams, surprisingly, are picked to finish second in that division by the odds makers.
Yeah, and they're at 9.5 wins. And as I said before, they were on the 20 of the Eagles trying to win that playoff game and didn't get it done. But they were the closest team to knocking them off. They went on to kick everyone's ass, including the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. The Eagles, the only one that gave them a game was the Rams.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. The Eagles boat raced the Washington. The Rams, they almost pulled off that upset in Philly. So their win total, you mentioned at 9.5. The over is -150. The under is +125 to win the West. They're +185. Now, they made the trade for Devontae Adams. They're absolutely loaded at tight end with Terrence Ferguson, their second round of Oregon. They got some issues on the offensive line in the interior. There's some questions there. Defensively, Michael Haidt, who's a really good pass rusher, he's signed with Buffalo. Their front seven's going to be fine. The issue for them is that corner. They're pretty weak at the cornerback position, but their pass rush with Jared Verse and friends is so good. They're really well coached, well schemed. They draft really well, and they develop really well. They're going to be somewhere around 10 wins for me. If I had to go over, if I had to pick one side, it would be over with the Rams there at -150. But the price is so high there. But yeah, I agree with you. I would have the Rams over the Niners to win that division.
Is it really 17 years now for Stafford?
No, he was drafted. Well, he was drafted in 2009. He was the first pick overall in that 2009 draft for Detroit. No, so it wouldn't be 17. Well, yeah, it wouldn't be 17 years. Wouldn't be quite 17 years, I don't think.
I could have sworn I saw something today that it was
16. Yeah.
16, it said 17 is 17th year. No? All right. Well, I still think he's a badass, and he can still play. It's like you got to convince him to play, though. Like you wonder if he's going to stop playing. You have to convince him to play, but he's going to play. And I think that as long as they have him, they're going to win. And with Adams on top of Puka Shells, I like their chances. What about the Cardinals and the Seahawks?
Yeah, this division, these win totals, I know the Cardinals are competitive, but the record has not been very good under Jonathan Gannon. But the over 8.5 wins is -120. The under is +100. I don't see it. Now, their D-line was awful last season, so they overaddressed it. Walter Nolan in the first round out of Mississippi D tackle. Dalvin Tomlinson's a pretty good, sort of a journeyman, but a good defensive tackle. Calais Campbell, come over from the Dolphins. The ageless Calais Campbell, well in his late 30s. Josh Sweat comes over from Philly. They lost Dennis Gardeck, a self-made player, an edge rusher who signs with Jacksonville. Scott, look, how Kyler Murray, let's call it like it is. How Kyler Murray plays with Marvin Harrison Jr. They didn't hook up a lot last season. Marvin Harrison Jr. did not have a good rookie season. They got to get him going. Kyler Murray's got to play better. To me, they're a 7 or 8 win team. I love that. I love that under all day at +100. I don't see it. Kyler Murray's got to take his game to the next level. He's very inconsistent. He's a fun player to watch, but he's got to play better. You got to explain to me why is the over -120? It should be the under +100.
And what about Sam Darnold and the Seahawks?
Yeah, that's my sleeper team. I actually like the over +120 at 8.5 wins. You mentioned Darnold, who's a great fit for that West Coast scheme with Clint Kubiak. They signed Cooper Kupp. Now they went from heavy 11 personnel. They're going to play a lot of 12 personnel with 2 tight end sets. Arroyo signed their second-round pick out of Miami. I like Ray Zabel moved from tackle in college at North Dakota State. He'll move to guard. DeMarcus Lawrence, Nick Manawari, the safety from South Carolina. I absolutely love this second-rounder. I know Geno Smith was traded, but Sam Darnold, way younger. I like him a lot. I like them to shock the world. I like actually the over. I think they're going to get 9 wins and push for a wild card. They're going to be my big surprise in the NFC.
We'll see if Cooper can stay healthy in Seattle. People started wondering about that. Have a great weekend, Adam. Fantastic stuff today.
think that there's a possibility that we could be looking at DeBoer wondering if he's the long-term answer at coach for the Tide?
I'm starting to feel like Alabama, I can't believe I'm saying this, Craig, is a sleeper. Fourth easiest schedule in the SEC this year. Ryan Williams is back. I think the friendly, these early season games against Florida State and Wisconsin, that is friendly for Alabama.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Paige Beckers, ready folks, is a top 10 WNBA player right now. You ever heard of the band Gladys Knight and the Pips? Yeah, it's Paige Beckers and the Dallas Wings. That's what she's got. Know what that means? She's got nobody. Enrique Wumwale has been awful this year. I don't know if she wants to play there or not.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Her ability to defend, shoot the three, rebound, pass the ball, and on a team that is awful. Right now, trending to get the #1 overall pick if they win the WNBA lottery. Possibly to draft her buddy AZ Fudd, maybe. But when you look at Paige Beckers is a top 10 player in the WNBA.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Obviously, he didn't do great in the last two majors, and we're going home here. We're going to Northern Ireland, Royal Portage. This is Rory's the reason why we're going here. Got off to a rough start, throwing his tee shot out of bounds back in 2019. I think he'll be ready. Not yet ready to call him the winner. I still have a couple of days before I do that, but it is a home game for him. And as you saw, based on this weekend, he is playing well.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody loves leftovers.
Everybody does love leftovers. As you mentioned before, I guess it is WNBA All-Star Weekend. Clark is out. She won't do anything this weekend. I guess tonight's the skills, tomorrow's the game. God bless and good luck. The NHL schedule came out this week. Important dates for you. Look at this. Opening night. You've got the Winter Classic, which is in Florida this year. The Stadium Series in Florida, late January. Marner returns to Toronto. Late October, Marchand returns to Boston. All the important dates on your NHL calendar.
Oh, yeah, Marchand going back to Boston. How will we ever get past that?
I don't know
Here's
how.
how much he thinks of Boston. He re-signed in Florida after he won that cup.
I don't blame him. Gavin McKenna's Penn State NIL deal is going to be around $700,000. Not bad for hockey, considering nobody watches college hockey.
That's
pretty good.
A hockey player's going to get $700 large to play for the Nittany Lions hockey program.
Good.
I didn't even know they had one until last year.
The Memphis athletic department's in a little bit of hot water. 2 years probation and fined $30 large by the NCAA. That's because they found that an academic counselor paid two of the softball players to help one of the men's basketball players with his schoolwork. The real story here, Scotty, I guess, is that the basketball player was doing schoolwork. I think that's the...
Yeah,
well, I guess he actually wasn't, but...
What is going on that they actually... This is the funniest story I've ever seen. They're actually saying that some kid at Memphis didn't do his schoolwork. I didn't know anyone that went to Memphis that played basketball went to a class ever under Penny Hardaway. They have been cheating at Memphis in basketball since before Christ. Do we not know all the scandals they've had there? Are you kidding me? Class? Homework? Going to class? What is that? There's nobody going to class anymore in college sports. I don't believe it for a minute. I don't. They get paid so much money to play college hoops and football. Why would you go to class? I mean, they all got 5 lovers and a Lamborghini. Who are you kidding? Did you see that video of Sarkeesian in front of that Texas school with all those race cars?
I told you about that with the Lambos. He had 10 Lambos lined up outside the place. But then we played a clip of him saying that, it's not about money for us, and it's not about... Then why do you have 10 Lambos outside the facility? It never ends. All right.
Everything's about money in sports.
Everything. 2 big fights for you on Saturday night. Are you ready? First, boxing.
Yes.
Talked about this earlier in the week. Pacquiao returns against Barrios in Vegas. Barrios the big favorite.
The guy in the middle of that picture has a better chance of beating Barrios than Pacquiao.
Next, UFC, of course. Big event, the final event for Diamond Dustin Poirier in his hometown of New Orleans against Max Holloway. Holloway the favorite. You got to be kidding me.
No, you got to go with the Diamond in Nolens and then the Acme Oyster Bar afterwards. Free oysters for everybody.
He's not losing his last fight. Come on,
way.
his alleged last fight in his hometown. Get serious.
No way. Also,
Usyk's fighting too. Yeah.
Dubois, he's going to beat his ass again. All right,
be
for
good.
a finish. The stratospheric skydiver. Did you see this guy? Remember the guy, the Red Bull guy that jumped out of space? He just jumped and he was like 5 miles up. That guy died in a paraglider crash at 56 years old. Eventually, skydivers, they all end up, it's the same ending, right? Like it always ends poorly when you jump off cliffs. You know what I mean? These guys in these, have you ever seen them in these like Batman outfits and they're flying, doing 200 miles an hour off the side of a cliff? Something I'll never do. Stephen Colbert, Chopped by CBS. That show was never even, it couldn't hold a candle to Letterman. They said it was financial. I said it was because it sucked. I've never thought that dude was funny ever. I'm not trying to be funny. That dude's not funny. I don't care what anybody says. That show sucked. That's why they got rid of it. Female religion teacher charged with sex trafficking boys to engage in commercial sex acts. That just sounds awful, doesn't it? Diddy will be sentenced October 3rd. Passengers no longer going to have their shoes taken off at the airport, Carver High. You can leave your shoes on now. And the son of El Chapo pleads guilty to 4 counts. 2 in Chicago, 2 in New York. He's going to do life just like his old man. Have a great weekend. Search my app. Search Ferrall. We'll see you Monday at 3 on Routes to Cuts.
Against him, I'm not surprised that he had no back down in his game because he is a player that plays with confidence and swag, and it was really cool to see him get the job done and the emotion at the 18th green with the interview with Amanda, especially for like a really kind of like Jersey boy.
Tough
Good to see a little emotion
with the gold necklace. You're like, oh, what's going on here? Yeah,
sure.
that was super cool.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
And Twitter started blowing up that I think it was someone from TSN that was in the arena that was posting this stuff. And I'm sure, like, when they, it's a beer league, so after the first period, when they're all sitting there in the room, I'm sure somebody said, hey, Connor, you're getting lit up on Twitter. We're beating you 4-0. Ha, ha, ha. And he's probably thinking, like, I can't even play a beer league game without you guys, like, saying what the score is.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
I showed you the Heisman odds a week or two ago, and they had Garrett Nussmeier as the second favorite behind Manning. So Brian Kelly's very excited to have Garrett back at school.
He is no athlete, in my opinion. You can quote me on that. Like, he is a clumsy white dude, and he sucked. Like, I'm being nice now. Now, all of a sudden, you're talking about him being great? Oh, slow down there, coach.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Shohei Ohtani can do something that nobody else in Major League Baseball can do. That means being maybe one of, if not the top 5 best hitters in baseball, and then go on the mound and throw some gems out here. Like, he threw 9 innings so far in his season, which isn't a lot, but that ERA is at 1. Are we saying that once he gets to 5 and 6 innings, that ERA is going to stay at 1? No, it isn't. But if it does, my goodness. I mean, just hand him the Cy Young on top of it as well. It's cheating.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.